Welcome YouTube to my first ever Professor Oak challenge, and let's do it in Let's Go Pikachu. Let's go down the rules. Number 1, I must get every single Pokemon available before each gym, including maximum evolution. Number 2, I can only use one game copy. Number 3, no trading Pokemon. I'm going to pretend like this game is offline and I have no friends. Let's face it, I do definitely have no friends. And last but not least, no glitches or exploits. Let's dive in, shall we? We start the game in a little town called Pallet, and not before long we get to Oak's lab. We will always start with a Pikachu here, which I called Eily7, and our rival will always get an Eevee. I named him Shivs and Giggles, after 2 of my current subscribers. I like to do this as a means of giving back to the people that believe in me and like what I do. This is where Professor Oak talks about a dream of his to get to know every different type of Pokemon, and due to his age he can't quite get it done. Well damn, if that's what you want by Oak or by Croak, it shall be done. I will take the Pokédex and go off into the sunset. Nothing will be able to stop me. Oh come on Shiv, you really want to battle me now? Eily7 opens the match by using a Thunder Shock, which doesn't really do much this early on, and Eevee comes back with a tackle which does less damage. So we're definitely going to win. We fire back with another Thunder Shock, which gets Eevee down to yellow health. Again, Eevee uses tackle. It's useless against us. Why don't you just give up? Another Thunder Shock puts Eevee down to red health and sets us up for a knockout next turn. Again, tackle does nothing. We win on the follow-up. We've definitely lost, my friend. After this, we head to Route 1 and we first pick up a Pidgey. This will evolve to Pidgeotto at level 18 and again into Pidgeot at level 36. Soon after that we find a Rattata, which will evolve into Raticate at level 20. Finally we find an Oddish, which will evolve into Gloom at level 21, and if we use a Leaf Stone it will evolve into Vileplume. With all this said, this game's gimmick is to catch loads of Pokemon, but to do that we need money, and there's not a lot of trainer battles before Brock, not really anyway. Sometimes you find Pokeballs lying on the ground, sometimes the trainers you fight will give you some. The point is, I don't see us being able to get everyone fully evolved before we take on Brock. But the compromise I have is that I run out of money and Pokeballs before I do the gym leaders. Seems fair enough, doesn't it? We reach Route 22 and find a Nidoran female. This will evolve into Nidorina at level 16, and if we use a Moonstone will evolve into Nidoqueen. Soon after that, we find a Nidoran male, which will evolve into Nidorino at level 16, and again, if we use a Moonstone, will evolve into Nidoking. We then catch a Spearow, which will evolve into Fearow at level 20. I feel like we're on a roll now, catching Pokémon and doing things. Oh no, not you again. Can't you say I'm trying to complete my Pokédex here? ID7 starts with Thundershock, which one hit shivs Pidgey. My Rattata gains a level from this exchange. He again sends out Eevee. We use Thundershock, which hits harder this time. Nice. Again he hits us with a weak tackle. Haven't you learned anything from the last time? Then he hits a quick attack straight after trying to shut me up, but that's weak as well. I go for the Thundershock once more, critting and getting Eevee down to red health. I get the speed advantage and follow up with a winning blow. Pidgey grows to level 6 and Nidoran female grows to level 5. Yes, seriously. After this, we are back on Route 2 and we find a Caterpie. This will evolve into Metapod at level 7 and Butterfree at level 10. We walk into Viridian Forest and we first find a Weedle. This will evolve into Kakuna at level 7 and Beedrill at level 10. Secondly, we find a Metapod which saves us training up Caterpie, I guess. Thirdly, we find a Kakuna which again saves us from training up Weedle. Fourthly, we find another Pikachu which I can use a Thunderstone on later to get Raichu. Shortly after, we find a Butterfree. This took a few attempts to capture, and maybe it wasn't the best use of our limited resources, but hey, we've got it. Now comes the fun part. We need to build up a catch combo, and the reason for this will become very clear very soon. If we get over 10, it makes us very likely to find a special Pokemon in our area. Which one do you think it is? Comment down below. Of course it's Professor Oak saying to follow me on Twitter, where I post all my behind the scenes stuff free of charge. Shout out to MDB for this joke. I've always wanted to say that in one of my videos. Sorry for the shameless plug, link in the description. I love that joke. In all seriousness, we walk around the corner and spot Bulbasaur. This evolves into Ivysaur at level 16 and Venusaur at level 32. We stay in the forest and gain enough experience to see our Nidoran female evolve into Nidorina. And our Nidoran male to evolve into Nidorino. Another step closer, Professor Oak. Aren't you proud of me? Anyway, remember the money problem I was talking about earlier? Sometimes you come across a slice of fried gold and have to take it.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Yeah, boy!
If we look after this Slowpoke, which hates being inside its ball, I know the pain of having a Pokemon that doesn't want to do what you ask. Believe me.
Pikachu, are you gonna be like this the whole way?
Anyways, you get a big pearl at the end, which you can sell for 4,000 if I remember correctly. I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me if I'm wrong. At the time, I didn't realise you could do this and get one every day in the game, hence why I did it once and forgot about it. After this, I take on 2 trainers in the Pewter City gym for some much needed experience and money. Both these fights were pretty easy, with Bulbasaur knowing some pretty decent grass moves at this point. Oops! Indeed, my friend. Oops indeed. Kakuna hits level 10 after this, so you guessed it, I now have a Beedrill. We are back at Viridian Forest, and as you can see I've used all my current money on Pokeballs. I will stay here until I've used all of them. During this very lengthy process our Pidgey hits level 18, so you know what that means. Pidgey evolves into Pidgeotto. Shortly after this we run out of Pokeballs and hit a brick wall. In summary, we could have just kept on waiting and receiving big pearls, having a renewable but very slow money source. But I'm a massive idiot, but I'm your massive idiot. I'll make the mistakes so you don't have to. With all that said, let's take on Brock and get our first badge, baby. Sends out Geodude first and we start with Bulbasaur. I use Vine Whip to one-hit Geodude. Pidgeotto gains a level from this exchange. His Onix is now out. We go for Vine Whip and get outsped with Rock Throw. We go for Vine Whip again and get outsped with Headbutt. But his fate is sealed. And with that, Spearow grows to level 10 and we get the Boulder Badge. This will now unlock Route 3 east of Putna City. We are now on Route 3 and back to catching Pokémon. We first find a Sandshrew which will evolve into Sandslash at level 22. Soon after that we find a Mankey which will evolve into Primeape at level 28. We keep gaining experience from nearby trainers and Pokemon catchers that Bulbasaur hits level 16, so you know what happens now. Bulbasaur evolves to Ivysaur. Get in! After this we set up another catch combo. There's another special Pokemon that I want to capture here. I wonder what it could be. Charmander, obviously. Did you think I was gonna do another joke? Follow me on! Anyways, Charmander evolves into Charmeleon at level 16 and again into Charizard at level 36. This will make a great addition to our team. We then get to Route 4 and wait, there's no Pokemon here? No nothing? Nothing at all? How will I ever get through this one? As most of you are probably aware, I've made a huge mistake here, because there is a Pokemon you can get here if you're willing to pay for it. I will address this in a future episode of the series. Can you guess what I missed? What a splash. Anyway, just before we hit Mount Moon, we're seeing Meowth. I wonder what he's dreaming about up there. That's what love can be sometimes, a crash of emotions.
Prepare for trouble!
Make it double!
To protect the world from devastation.
To unite all peoples within our nation.
To denounce the evils of truth and love.
To extend our reach to the stars above.
Jesse!
James!
Team Rocket, blast off at the speed of light!
Surrender now or prepare to fight!
Meow, that's right! Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again!
As we enter Mount Moon, we soon find a Geodude. This will evolve into Graveler at level 25, and due to Golem being a trade evolution, and remember we are technically playing offline, we can't get him, and that's absolutely fine. Soon after, we find a Zubat. This little one will evolve into a bigger Golbat at level 22. In a future episode, something big and amazing happens, and I really want to talk about it now, but I can't, so please stay tuned for that one. After this, we find an Onix, which I first saw in the anime many moons ago. Get it? I thought he was super cool and became one of my favourites. Last for now, we find a Clefairy. I know this game follows Pokemon Yellow and the anime to a degree. I keep thinking of this from the actual anime.
Ask is the spacecraft that brought them to Earth in this cave. It's the Moonstone.
It sure is an original theory.
We take on various trainers as we walk through Mount Moon. These are very necessary at the minute due to needing much needed experience and money. These are nothing too special, these are quite easy in fact. We even get Oddish to evolve in this too. So we have a Gloom. Nice. Celadon, we'll be seeing you eventually, hopefully. We need the evolution stones. We keep going until we see a familiar face. It's Jessie acting suspiciously. She escapes and I think nothing of it. Back to fighting more trainers. These are quite simple too, absolutely standing no chance against our goodish team at this moment. We eventually get to a point where we catch up to James. He really doesn't want us following, does he? After this, we get to a Team Rocket grunt and he goes down very quickly to our team. And soon after, we find a Paris. This will evolve into Parasect at level 24. We eventually get to a room with a hiker and a random NPC in the top left corner. We battle the hiker and win quite easily with Ivysaur, and we go and have a chat with our lovely random NPC in the corner. Now remember at the start when I said it could be harder to leave Mount Moon than we think. This is the reason why our time in here is going to become hours upon hours instead of seconds upon minutes. He is my saviour and my maker all in the same sentence. Once you run low on Pokeballs, before 10 to be more precise, he will give you 10 Pokeballs for free, and we'll keep doing it, rinse and repeat. I now have a renewable way of gaining experience without using all my money. So you know what that means. I'll be staying in here until everything that I have evolves to its last stage. Now cue the catch combo of Geodudes. We need this because there is a special Pokemon we need in here. Many moments later, I find it. That special Pokemon is a Chansey. Another step closer, Oak. The experience we gain is massive, and lucky for us our Rattata was close to gaining another level, which of course, you guessed it, lets her evolve into Raticate. There's a few useful items hidden in craters on the floor, but the main one we need in here,
The Moonstone.
these are very necessary for evolving certain members of our team. Good thing about these, from my experience, they respawn after a while. I'm in here for a while. A little while after this we find our very next Pokemon, and it's a Clefable. This was quite easy to catch, believe it or not. I knew I was going to be grinding in this for ages, and sometimes I can't be at my desk. I have a 2-year-old boy to look after, and I don't get much time off work for my full-time job to support us. I'm doing this in my free time, which isn't a lot these days. I'd love to be in a position where I could make this my full-time job. I genuinely love doing this and being creative, and trying Pokemon challenges keeps it fresh. This is not boring for me at all, believe me. I hope this comes across in my content, and I hope I can make these better and better in the future for all of you that decide to give it a watch and interact with me. I look forward to slowly building a community where I can talk to you about anything and everything, and you can talk to me about anything and everything back. Sorry for the rant back there. Back to the video and back to my point. Thanks to you guys if you show me some support. I really appreciate it. I can move the Switch away from my desk and work on certain bits. I also have a phone that I can record with if certain things happen. Eventually my Charmander evolves into Charmeleon, and I use the Moonstones I picked up earlier to evolve my Nidorino male and female to get Nidoqueen and Nidoking respectively. After this I make it back to my desk and start recording properly again, and cue a massive montage of us evolving loads of Pokemon. Geodude becomes Graveler, Ivysaur becomes Venusaur, Mangy becomes Primeape, Paris becomes Parasect, Spearow becomes Fearow, Pidgeotto becomes Pidgeot, Charmeleon becomes Charizard, Sandshrew becomes Sandslash, and Zubat becomes Golbat. I go back to Pewter City and sell a lot of stuff and heal up at the Poké Center. I travel all the way back through, and eventually I get to the Gatekeeper of Fossils. Sounds like something out of Yu-Gi-Oh! If you ordered it from Wish, doesn't it? We have to battle him to move on. He sends out Voltorb and I one-hit him with Primeape. We keep her out for Magnemite and use Seismic Toss, and one hits it too. I feel like we should be allowed to take both fossils since we won, right? But I suppose that's what Team Rocket would do. Let's not get greedy and only take one. We get a Helix fossil, and I'll tell you in a future episode what we get here, but you probably already know. Just act like you don't in the comments just for some random weirdness. I'd love to see my comment section full of random comments and everyone having loads of fun. We get ambushed by Jesse and James before we leave, coming after our newly obtained fossil. I really hope the Gatekeeper of Fossils hid his one, or it'll feel like a massive waste of time falling into Giovanni's hands. As you can imagine, this is a simple fight with Jesse and James. They're only really in it for the fun of it really, or for fans yearning after the good old days of watching Pokemon on VHS tapes on a really old CRT television. Or newer fans loving the journey Pokemon has come on over the years. I'm in my 30s now, so I remember watching them when I was a kid. I really am trying to get my son into them, but he's more interested in Thomas the Tank Engine these days. I can't complain, that's exactly what I was like when I was his age. Anyways, we win easily, and we eventually escape the trials and tribulations of Mount Moon. After 17 hours, we have our first badge, and we are free. What do we get for all this magnificence? What do we get for all this pain and hardship? What do we get for all this repetitive tasks to make a video that is going to be really cool hopefully? What do we get? A Psyduck on Route 4. That's what we get. Of course we do. We eventually reach Cerulean City, and we quickly go around talking to most of the NPCs here. We even end up talking to a massive Onyx too. No wonder the houses are so tall around here. We end up going to the Pokemart to gain some more supplies also. We need to catch a ton of Pokemon in this after all. One of the houses is like a Pokemon rehabilitation centre, so they can gain their strength back before going back to the wild. We get offered a Bulbasaur in here, and we definitely want to take him with us. But, well, we need to fight him first, don't we? Take it away, Ash! We make our way to Nugget Bridge, and soon after this we get ambushed by our rival once again. I really want to complete my Pokédex buddy. He starts the match with his Pidgey and I send out Pikachu. Pidgey starts with Quick Attack, which doesn't do much to us. We are really over leveled for this part of the game. I follow up with IL-7 my Pikachu and this easily one-hits Pidgey. He sends out his Oddish, so I send out my Charizard. I one-hit Oddish with Fire Spin. He then sends out Eevee, so I send out Venusaur. Eevee starts with Quick Attack, which doesn't do a lot either. We follow up with Petal Dance, which is a one-hit KO.
Finish him! Fatality!
At the end of the battle, our rival will talk about Bill's house and what's contained within it. A Pokemon that can talk? That's not really that scary. I'm sure we met a Pokemon earlier that talked, didn't we? After this, we stampede through the rest of the trainers on the bridge like a Tauros in a Pokemart, which will now be played for you in dramatic reenactment.
Thank you, come again.
Smashing!
Actually, it's probably nothing like that. I'll just play the footage. We eventually get our Grand Nugget prize, a Rocket Grunt, who really wants us to join the bad guys. We can't do that. Can we? Can we? He starts with Zubat and for some reason I start with Pidgeot, which I use Quick Attack on it to one-hit his bat. He then sends out Coughing and I switch to Primate. I use Seismic Toss, which seals his fate. What a battle. We really struggled with that one, didn't we, our SBG crew? Now let's see Damien. Yes, that Damien. He mistreats his Charmander and abandons him. Roll the tape. Take it away, Ash. Sorry about putting all that in, I just really love the episodes that involve Ash gaining his starters. And the episode with Charmander is genuinely my favourite. Don't mistreat anyone is the life lesson from this one. I really want to do a challenge run with him one day. One day soon? Maybe it might be my new challenge run. After I edit and upload this entire challenge run. Maybe. Let's move on and capture some Pokemon that we are missing. We first find our Venonat, which will evolve into Venomoth at level 31. There's not much we can find in this part of the game at the minute, but with all that said, let's cue the catch combo again, for a very special capture that's in this area. Can you guess which one that would be? It's Professor Oak, of course, telling you to comment on these videos and subscribe for more. We need all the support we can get if we're going to fill our Pokédex and become the league champion. But in all seriousness, it's a Squirtle. I love this little guy. He will evolve into Wartortle at level 16. This is one of my favourite Pokemon evolution names ever. It sounds really
B-A-double-D, A-double crooked letter!
Nearly swore on one of my videos. That can't do, can it? He then will evolve into Blastoise at level 36. Let's skip forward to Bill's lab. But where's Bill? Where is he? What was it? Did he hear something, Pikachu? Nidorino? What are you doing here? No, wait. You're Bill? Get in that machine and I will save you. After all this goes down, he will tell you more information about the Pokemon box and how you can send them to Professor Oak if you fill them. And yes, we will fill it during this playthrough, due to the mechanics of this game. He will also give you 2 SSN tickets, which will be greatly appreciated when we get to Vermilion City. But for now, let's go to Cerulean City Gym and take out the trainers in there. These are real easy, so cue the montage. This will give us a little experience and a bit more money to buy more Great Balls to capture more Pokemon. I'll leave Misty for now for obvious reasons. I have money so I can gain more experience. So back to that patch of grass, shall we? I capture loads more Pokemon and gain enough experience to let Squirtle hit level 16. And you know what that means? He will now evolve into Wartortle. Still love that name. We then make sure to use up all of our money and the balls that we have so we can no longer capture Pokemon or anything new. Which will now mean I can't get any more experience. Let's take on Misty. I sped this up because it's really super easy. Our Pikachu and our Venusaur demolishes her Staryu and Starmie really quickly, giving us the Cascade badge. We start off still in Cerulean City, and with Officer Jenny out of the way, we can go through this house and continue on with our game. Oh no, look at this. Oh the mess. Oh the horror. Oh the destruction. Ooh, a berry. ID7, this is serious, get back over here.
Pikachu!
We find out that Team Rocket had burst in to steal the TM dig from these poor people. Look at this idiot. When you steal something, you're meant to leave the scene as quick as possible. How did Officer Jenny walk straight past you, but caught me trying to run through with my very own Pikachu in my hands earlier?
Hold it! And just where do you think you're going with that Pokemon, young man?
Anyways, you're caught red-handed. Let's battle. The grunt sends out his one and only Pokemon, Raticate, and we send out our very own Venusaur. We one hit using Vine Whip. How did this guy get into Team Rocket? He's absolutely shh! After the battle, he hands back Dig and runs away, upset. Aww, so sad. So very sad. We go back in to hand over the stolen merchandise, but it turns out he trained his own Diglett in that time that we done that fight to learn Dig on its own. But Diglett learns Dig at level 19 usually, so he must have been level 18 when this grunt decided to try and steal his Dig. But his Raticate is level 15. So he must be a rubbish trainer to get beat off a rocket grunt with a level 18 Diglett. Am I reading too much into this? You be the judge on that one. After this, we jump down onto Route 5. There's a couple of Pokemon we need from here, and we quickly find our first one. It's a Jigglypuff. If we use a Moonstone, we could evolve into Wigglytuff. But for some reason, I don't do this until we reach Celadon. So you have to wait for that one. But why? Why didn't I just do it then? So stupid. Soon after this, we find a Growlithe, and that's the last one we need from this route. We walk further down towards the underground path, but hey, there's our rival again. Can't you see I'm trying to complete my Pokédex here? He walks towards us, and I'm sensing something weird's about to happen here. He keeps getting closer, and closer. And wait, what? We have to hold still for a moment? Wait. What are you trying to do? I really need reviving, I must have passed out. Well, that was weird. We give him an SSN ticket for his trouble and he takes off. Well, I'll see you there, buddy. We eventually hit Route 6 and there's only one Pokemon we need. After a little bit of running round, we find the Abra we are looking for which we will evolve into Kadabra at level 16. If this wasn't an Oak challenge, we could trade Kadabra to get Alakazam. But being a trade evolution, we can't. We take out all the trainers in this area for more money and much needed experience, and we eventually hit Vermilion City. Do you remember the Squirtle squad and how they acted out for attention? One of them stayed behind, and Officer Jenny really wants an experienced trainer to take care of him. But let's recap on how we got to this point, shall we? Take it away, Ash! We receive our Squirtle and move on. We walk into the Porty fan club, and here, a change of outfits in order. We receive the Pikachu set and put it on. We change ID7, our Pikachu, into the sportswear set that we have. We walk back out and there's a kid with a Magikarp just splashing around. Damn kid, get that Magikarp back in the water!
Alright, Magikarp, let's escape!
On Route 11, using a mix of trainers around here and finding a Drowsy, which will evolve into Hypno at level 26, our Abra hits level 16. So you know what that means. She evolves into Kadabra. There's one more Pokemon we need to find, and after a little while and not noticing there was one at the top right corner of the screen, oops, we find Mr. Mime. We capture it and move swiftly on to Diglett's cave. Can you guess what Pokemon we find in here? Of course it's Professor Oak saying to follow me on Twitter, where I post a lot of my behind the scenes stuff free of charge. I also repost a lot of stuff that I like on there from a lot of creative people that love the same stuff as I do. There's a lot of good things on Twitter, you just need to look out for it. Anyways, we find a Diglett first, which is to be expected, and after a little while we find Dugtrio. Now then, we walk onto the pier where the SSN is docked, and we find these two saying, "Cool." They are really strange, aren't they? We catch up with Blue and our rival, who break down that Team Rocket are dangerous and use Pokemon for financial gains. This is all well and good, but don't we know this already? We rush through after this, taking out as many trainers as we can in here and grabbing any item that we can. Then we get to our rival fight, just before we reach the captain. For God's sake, I'm trying to complete my Pokédex here, it's like you don't even care. He starts the fight with Pidgeotto and we send out Pikachu. We use Thunderbolt straight out the gate, which one hits his Pidgeotto. He then sends out Eevee and he uses Quick Attack, which doesn't do a lot to us, and we follow up with Thunderbolt, one hitting him as well. He then sends out his last Pokemon, Oddish, which again I just used Thunderbolt to one hit her. We can go through to the captain and we can be Nurse Joy for a bit, healing the captain, making him feel way better. And with that, he'll teach Eily 7 the secret technique, Chop Down. That's just cut to you and me. With that, we can leave the ship and let it sail back off into the open sea. I really hope it doesn't sink. We then go back to Diglett Cave and run out of money and Pokeballs, but during this process our Venonat hits level 31 and evolves into Venomoth. Also our Drowsy hits level 26 and evolves into Hypno. So with that we head into Lieutenant Surge's gym and take out the gym trainers in there, which will give us experience and money. So you know what that means? Back to Diglett Cave and use up the money and Pokeballs once again. During this process our Psyduck hits level 33 and evolves into Golduck. After 25 hours of actual playtime, we can eventually take on Surge. But after I figure out how this stupid puzzle works again, this absolutely sucks. Is there any part of a Pokemon game that infuriated you? Please tell me in the comment section down below. We then challenge Surge. He starts the match with Voltorb and we send out Charizard. I open up with Fire Spin, which puts him into red health. He then sets up a light screen and then our Fire Spin takes him out straight after. He then sends out Magnemite, but we use Fire Spin again, putting him to red health. He uses Thunderbolt, but it only takes out a third of our health. Our Fire Spin takes him down lower, and we follow up with Ember. He then sends out Raichu, so I set up the match from the anime and put my Pikachu out. This is for you guys, for everyone out there that has liked my videos and cheers me on, or even subscribes and follows me on Twitter. I genuinely thank you for that. That means so much to me and my family. You have no idea. It's just another little step forward towards a dream of mine, to make these for a living. Now let's crush this gym. Shall I just go in and hit him already? I was trying to get this for my Twitter page so people knew how far I was getting on. I go for Thunderbolt straight away and we don't take a lot of his health out as a result. We then use this double kick, but this is really weak in comparison. We use Thunderbolt once again and we critical hit, taking Raichu down. And with that, we surge our way to victory and receive a Thunder Badge. Now remember back in episode 1, just before Mount Moon, I make a mistake that I would address in a future episode. Well, there's a Pokemon we can get way back on Route 3's Pokemon Center. So we fast track all the way back through Diglett Cave and up through the early routes of the game, back through Pewter City, and we hit Route 3 again and go into the Pokemon Center once again. And we hand over our stacks of cash and pick up Magikarp. And with that, that's the end of part 4. I really hope you liked that one. We started off by clearing all the trainers on Route 9 and 10. You will know the drill by now if you followed this series from the very beginning. We need money to get Pokeballs to capture new ones, and gain more experience in this game. We can't battle wild Pokemon. We walk down towards the Poké Center and we get ambushed by Team Rocket. These guys don't give us a break, do they? So you start to think that this is going to be 4-on-1, but wait, who is this majestically coming to save us? It's a Lapras, of course. Did you really think I was going to do my Professor Oak joke again? Maybe later, maybe not. Guess you'll just have to stay watching to find out. Anyways, the mysterious trainer leaps off her Lapras and decides to take on 3 of the grunts, leaving one of them for us. So bring it on, Team Rocket. He sends out Raticate and we send out Charizard. We start with a Fire Spin and it sends Raticate down to red health. He comes back with a Super Fang that cuts our health in half. To my surprise, the Vortex from the Fire Spin finishes him off. With that, Team Rocket is defeated once again, and they surrender and take off once again. But who is this really powerful and mysterious trainer that has helped us out? Of course it's the master of the Ice type, Elite Four extraordinaire, Lorelei herself. I'm really looking forward to win our match later on. Pikachu waves and she leaves and we move on. Now let's go. Let's play Spot the Pokemon. Let me know in the comments if you find it. Wrong answers would be funny too, so if you want, have some fun with it. More comments is more better. Bad English, I know.
Alright, first academic alert.
Sparrow's blade.
No.
Sparrow.
This means you're failing English.
Me fail English? That's impossible.
We pick up the great balls before entering Rock Tunnel. Let's get back to catching more stuff. First up is Rhyhorn, but here comes another mistake. I genuinely thought Rhyhorn was a trade evolution. We will make this right in another episode, so you're going to have to wait for that one. As you know, he evolves at level 42. Next up is Machamp, who will evolve into Machoke at level 28. Machamp is a tradable evolution, so we can't do it. Soon after, we find a Cubone who evolves at level 28 into Marowak. Last up on the capture list is Genghis Khan. This took a F-ton of tries to capture, but we eventually do it. Our war total hits level 36 in this process, so you guessed it, we now have a Blastoise. I now make the long trip back to Mount Moon to evolve everything that we have, because of the Pokeball guy in there. Now, veterans of the game will realise this is a stupid and gigantic waste of time. I will elaborate on this later on in the episode. Once in Mount Moon, our Magikarp hits level 20 and turns into Gyarados. Machamp hits level 28 and turns into Machoke. Cubone also hits level 28 and evolves into Marowak. Let's move on. I'm pretty sick of seeing Mount Moon, and if you guys have been following the series, you guys are too, I guess. We move out of Mount Moon and we hit Cerulean City once again. We need more supplies, so we hit the Pokemon here. It took me to now to realise that once you capture or send duplicates to Professor Oak, you gain candies of various names and abilities. But I already knew this, but what I didn't know is that you could sell them. This would have been so helpful in the early game, especially before Brock, when money was really limited. The more you know, I guess. Hindsight is a beautiful thing, isn't it? We go back through Rock Tunnel, clearing trainers and the like, and progress through. We eventually hit a set of stairs and move into a room with another Pokeball guy. Now, can you see why heading back to Mount Moon to evolve my Pokemon was a gigantic waste of time? I never said I was the best at Pokemon games or anything like that. I make mistakes a lot, but I'm having so much fun doing them that I hope you guys like them too. And to my delight, some of you do, and I really appreciate it. On the 28th of May, I uploaded a short from the first episode of this series called My Pikachu Called Eily7. This is my sister's user handle. She's called Emma and has supported me through my entire life, being the older sibling and all. She has even supported the channel by doing all the graphical work and coming up with the logos and screens, etc. Now, this video is the most successful one to date. I woke up around 1 in the morning to make sure my son was okay, and I looked at my YouTube Studio app, and the views and likes were climbing more and more, way more than usual. Hitting 1,000 views is something I hadn't done, but then it went to 2,000, and then 3,000, then climbed up to 4,000, and now it capped off at 5,019, with 81 likes and 14 subscribers gained. This is the best feeling I have had to date doing this, and to all of you, thanks for your support. Let's hope the growth continues. Let's get back to the video, shall we? This was a beautiful moment because I was feeling like I wasn't getting anywhere, but I was still loving what I was doing. We escaped Rock Tunnel and we reached Lavender Town. We skip Lavender Tower for now since we don't have the Sylph Scope. As enticing as a Tower of Death can be, I'll be going to Celadon, thank you very much. We hit Route 8 and take out all the trainers once again, but there's a new Pokemon we can get here, and no, it's not in the grass. It's because there is a Firestone just lying around here. But I might as well get some use out of it. Finders keepers, I guess. We use the Firestone on our Growlithe to gain Arcanine. We get out of the underground path soon after and hit Route 7. There's one more Pokemon we can get around here, and to our surprise and luck, it's waiting for us. This takes a few attempts because it's a rare one to find here, so just having it waiting for us is quite lucky. Soon after this, we hit Celadon City. We pick up the story in Celadon City, and yes, it's been a hot minute since I've uploaded anything, and yes, a lot of other things have took priority lately, but I'm now back, so let's move on. We hit up the department store because we need some stones. And no, not them types of stones. We need to evolve some stuff. We start with a Thunderstone on a Pikachu we caught earlier and get a Raichu, but now comes another mistake I made during this video. I have a look through my Pokebox and encounter a Rhyhorn in here, but for some strange reason I thought he was a trade evolution, which is completely stupid on my part. So let's cue the massive montage of me getting Rhyhorn to level 42, yes, 42. But before we do that, haven't I forgotten something back in Celadon? This Onix will have to wait a minute. I used a leaf stone on Gloom to get a Vileplume, and then I used a moonstone on Jigglypuff to get a Wigglytuff. Another Pokemon I could have had way sooner before now. If I do Orc challenges in the future, I think I'll have to take way more care to get it right. But I really enjoyed doing this, so I think I might try it in Emerald one day. So I returned to the Onyx and run away. Couldn't tell you why though. So we capture loads more Pokemon and gain more experience for our Rhyhorn, and we get to a point where a Zubat appears. Why is this exciting, you may ask? It's a shiny! This is the first one I found during these challenge runs, and believe it or not, when I was playing my first playthrough of Pokemon Leaf Green, in Rock Tunnel once again, and I really wish I had the footage from this way back in 2004, but 20 years later I find it again randomly. I love Pokemon games for moments like this. Anyways, back to progressing through the game. What was your first shiny Pokemon? Comment down below. So we have to put this Zubat in our party of course, and I leveled him up to get shiny Golbat. We still have lots to do, but Pikachu needs a slight break, so needs must. Now, just to give you a bit of context of how long we have been in here, our new Zubat was level 23 when we caught him. He evolved to Golbat and even then reached level 45, all before Rhyhorn hitting level 42 and eventually evolving into Rhydon. This was tough, but I think finding our shiny Golbat helped me through it. Soon after this, we reached Saffron City and hit up the dojo. We take out all the trainers in here and take on the Karate Master. But I'm trying to become a Pokemon Master, so I have to defeat you. It turns out to be really easy, and let's face it, we've mainly been over-leveled for quite a bit of the game. Soon after this, we pick Hitmonchan, and that's another Pokemon down. With that, I'll end this part here. I'm sorry this has took a long time to get out. A lot of things have, unfortunately for you guys, have had to come first. Until I have enough of a following where I can make a small living from this, I have to be realistic. I'm a working class dad / husband that needs to work full time just to keep the roof over our heads. So this is something that I'm passionately doing on the side, with hopes of entertaining someone, as many YouTubers have managed to entertain me and get me through some really bad times in the past. Then growing it into something that is sustainable and that I can make a small little living from it. This will take many years to do, but I'm going to keep trying. I can't wait to get this challenge out the way and play a new Pokemon challenge for you guys. I've seen Let's Go for months now. I'm going to end my rant here and go spend some time with my family. We start this episode by getting back to Celadon City, and we can now start getting back on track for the League Challenge. We head to Celadon City Gym, and yes, the creepy old bloke is still there, but his words are a little less creepy this time around. It's funny what you could get away with back in the day, isn't it? We wipe the floor of all of Erica's subordinates, and we prepare for the battle in the best way we can. This will take all of our team, willpower and determination. All our training in the dojo has led us to this. Yeah, she's an absolute squash. We have Charizard after all, what do you think was going to happen, you dum-dum? Please don't take legal action in any way. This isn't the actual views of anyone at SPG Games, nor is it appropriate. Thanks again, please don't sue, you dum-dum. We head back to Lavender Town and head for Pokemon Tower. There's a rival fight here after all. He starts with Pidgeotto and my Charizard comes out. Not the start that I wanted, so I switch out for Eily 7, my Pikachu. He hits us with a quick attack, a move that usually does nothing, so we follow up with Zippy Zap, and you can imagine it's a one-shot. He sends out Gloom and we switch out for Pidgeot, and we use Air Slash, which is a one-shot also. Last but not least, he sends out Jolteon, and I don't really have a good answer for this one, so I just use Venusaur. Fun fact, I'm trying to shiny hunt him in Pokemon Leaf Green and it's going as horrible as you would expect. Anyways, back to the rival fight. We've kept him waiting long enough. His Jolteon uses Quick Attack, which is futile against us, and we follow up with Petal Dance, one-hitting him. We head back to the Team Rocket hideout and unlock the hidden staircase, to the depths of corruption and greed that this team of thugs radiates. A bit too dramatic there, I guess. Let's wind up back and sort them out, but before we do that, we see some familiar faces gambling away. Of course it's Jesse and James. And wait, I've never noticed that before. Meow was just asleep on the machine. So we have to roll back to an old tradition from episode 1. Or 2, can't really remember now. I wonder what he's dreaming about there.
Meowth, you don't have a nose!
Huh? My nose? What happened? The stink dissolved it off my face!
The grunts are nothing to shout about, as you can imagine, they're quite useless. But they aren't as useless as us trying to blend in with them. I mean, come on you dum-dum, you didn't even put the correct t-shirt on. We would never make a super villain. Anyways, I really like this little section just before you get the lift key, where you can control my Pikachu called Eily7 and eavesdrop on Jessie and James and Meowth. I really don't know why they would throw the lift key up there in the first place, but it makes for a funny scene though. I didn't realise I was back in control of my Pikachu for a moment, and we jump back down to continue on with our journey. We run towards the lift and head further into the basement, and we can now take on Jessie and James. This is still just a squash match, but let's recap it anyway. They send out Arbok and Weezing, at least they are evolved now, so we send out Charizard and Venusaur to counter-attack the threat. We are over 20 levels higher, so I think we're going to lose this one. We use Double Edge and Flamethrower respectively, and one-hit Arbok, bringing Weezing down to a sliver. We finish it with Dragon Rage. Now cue the complimentary Runaway and music. We walk through, and don't worry Cubone, we'll get you out of this mess. Now for the real test. Giovanni's assistant, Arja. Arja? Oh god. I think I might just keep that one in. I'll try again there. Arja. Oh, I'm going delirious. Now for the real test. Giovanni's assistant, Archer.
Danger! Woohoo! Woodhouse! Again!
We open the match with Bubble Beam and put Weezing down to yellow health. This pitiful Sludge Bomb is completely useless even with a critical hit, which lets us take him down with a follow-up. He goes to send out Golbat and we send out Eily7 and we one-hit him with Zippy Zap. And that is the end of that. He pleads for forgiveness and we step around him. Now it's time for Giovanni. He starts off with Persian and our Blastoise is out. Once again we go for Bubble Beam and get outsped with Fake Out, which causes us to flinch. After getting slashed down, we use Bubble Beam to drop Persian to yellow health, and once again to make him faint. Last but not least, it's Rhyhorn and our Bubble Beam takes him out in one hit. Giovanni, how did you become leader of a team like this? As a reward, we get a Silph Scope and Cubone's Freedom. Now not just a mere child, am I? We skip over all the travel not to bore you and return to Lavender Town. Now let's sort this mess out at Pokemon Tower. Our rival is already there waiting outside for us. We enter the tower and use Silph Scope so we can reveal all the ghost type Pokemon in there. I say that, but there's only two we can really capture in here, so we get Ghastly and Haunter respectively and move on to the top of the tower. But just before we can progress, we get ambushed by another spirit, but this one turns out to be Cubone's mother. Now, as a disclaimer, there will be plenty of people out there that have lost people recently, and we at SPG Games are no exception to that. So seeing this quite soon after a bereavement in our family actually comforted me in a weird way, so I hope this does for you guys as well. We head upstairs and get ambushed by Jessie and James once again. This pretty much goes the same way as last time, about a few minutes ago. We use Floaty Fall with Pikachu and Vine Whip with Venusaur. Arbok goes down and Weezing takes a little damage. Eily7 gets poisoned, so I recall her and send out Charizard. A few more hits and Weezing goes down. So again, cue the music and the bad guys running away. Don't they ever learn? We save Mr. Fuji and we head back down to his home. We receive the Porky Flute and we skip ahead to the Silph Core building. Let's put an end to Team Rocket once and for all. Well, until the 8th gym badge at least. Blue shows up and wants to be reassured that we can take on Team Rocket, so we have a battle with him just to be sure. He sends out Executor and we switch Eily7 out for Charizard. We get hit with Psychic and only take a little bit of damage, and we use Flamethrower to one-hit him. He sends out Charizard, so we send out Blastoise. We nearly go down to a few air slashes, but not before we get a couple of hits of Bubble Beam in. We then send out Charizard to eventually finish Blue off with Wing Attack. And with that, I'm going to end that episode here. So, outro time. I've been working on a video in the background for a few weeks now, off and on. I'm trying to get a shiny Bulbasaur in Pokemon Leaf Green. I've sunk so many hours into this already, but it still hasn't happened yet. Once this happens, I'll have a surprise for you guys, especially my current subscribers. I think you'll all find it really fun. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I've also started my next challenge run and it's Pokemon Shield with only Grookey. I don't have any predictions on how this is going to go, but I've already lost a rival fight, so I think that's going to be a tough one. I don't really want to over level, so I haven't been grinding out a lot of levels in it, just when I hit a brick wall and all of that. I've also been thinking of getting a Windows PC handheld like an ROG Ally or Legion Go, just so I don't have to be at the desk to work on these challenges. I could be working on them during my lunch break at my day job or in the living room when my son watches his cartoons and all of that. I don't really play AAA games on my PC anyway, I'm more of a console guy, so I think they should have the power to run an instance of Pokemon and record in OBS at the same time. Plus my PC is getting really old now anyway, so having a more sleek desk setup with the dock and all of that will be a welcome change. Anyways, I've rambled on for far too long with this one, so I'll see you in the next video. Now, before we get into this video, I want to stop by saying something a little bit more serious. And unfortunately, over the weekend, on Saturday the 11th of August, we had lost Rachel Lillis. Now, if you don't know who Rachel Lillis is, she's an absolute legend, by the way. She voice acted Misty and Jessie out of the Pokemon franchise. And if you were anything like me, watching Pokemon growing up, then you know she was a massive part of your childhood, as well as mine. So this episode is going to be a massive tribute to her, because if it wasn't for the likes of Pokemon, anime, video games, all of that sort of stuff, I probably wouldn't even be here today. So this is a massive thank you to anyone that works in them fields, and I hope she rests in peace. Hello YouTube, hope you're all well and welcome back to my Professor Oak challenge. In this episode we will try and figure out if we can defeat the game by catching everything that we need and becoming the league champion. You guys have been waiting long enough, let's do it. And since you guys have been waiting, I'm going to set this to premiere on the channel. I don't know if I'll get anyone in the live chat or anything like that, but I'm just going to experiment with it and see what happens. I'll hopefully see you there. We start the finale, if that doesn't sound confusing then I don't know what will, by hitting up the Silphcore building. And we just had a rival fight, which you can see in the previous episode by the way, to see if we're actually strong enough to take on Team Rocket. But come on man, we have had to do a Professor Oak challenge, so we've been grinding levels by capturing loads of stuff anyway, and we're so over leveled. Anyways, I think I'd be wasting your time and mine if we took on all the grunts in here, so I don't bother. We skip ahead to a double battle with our rival. This isn't anything to shout about either by the way, so we eventually win and take the card key so we can unlock any room that we need. We then add another member to our party, and of course it's Lapras. I always thought she was a cool looking Pokemon as it majestically surfs around. I thought that would sound way more profound. Moving swiftly on. Get it? Swift is a Pokemon move. I are smart. Somewhere within this mess we even get to use our shiny Golbat against a generic boring one. Ours is better, don't you agree YouTube? Our rival holds up a rocket admin which lets us power on through. Nothing is going to stop us from getting to Giovanni now. Ah, okay, maybe these three clowns might, Jessie and James. They send out Arbok and Weezing again obviously, and we send out Eiley and Charizard. We use Zippy Zap on Weezing, putting him into red health, and then Flamethrower on Arbok, which is a one shot. Weezing tries a weak Thunderbolt on Charizard and our Pikachu finishes it on the follow-up. They blast off again, defeated once more, and now we can get to Giovanni. He tries to rough up the president of Silphcore by being an idiot, but it won't work because we will stop you. Let's battle. He sends out Persian and we send out Blastoise, but we quickly change to Charizard. Persian uses a weak fake out, practically doing nothing as we use Flamethrower next turn to one-shot it. He then uses Rhyhorn, which we use Wing Attack on, which was really a dumb move on my part. I must have been getting tired at this point, or I just plain suck. Yeah, I probably just suck. We then get our act together and brute force the knockdown with Flamethrower. He then sends out Nidoqueen and one Flamethrower does the job. Well, that's Giovanni defeated again. My Alexa's just went off for some strange reason. Okay, moving on. He leaves with his tail in between his legs and we make sure everyone else is okay. The president gives us our Master Ball for our troubles. Well, you know what we're going to use that on, don't you? We leave Silphcore victorious and move on. Since we now have Lapras, we could move on with the League Challenge and challenge Sabrina, the Psychic Gym Leader. Now remember how we had these two borderline criminal if you ask me. Roll the footage. Let's definitely not lose here, or that'll be our fate too, trapped forever. We need more Pokemon to complete our decks after all. Let's skip ahead to Sabrina. She sends out Mr. Mime and we start with Eily 7. It's usually my go-to if you've seen the other parts of the challenge so far, which are up on one big playlist if you want to check that out. I also put up the raw unedited footage, which I know you won't watch, but I like to have them there so you can see how I've actually done the challenges. Hours of footage put into a video that usually lasts under 10 minutes. We use Zippy Zap, which crits for a one-shot, but I don't think we needed that, but I'll take it. Slowbro is next, but we try Thunder. Wait, what? That would have been a one-shot too, but she avoided the attack. Slowbro uses Psychic soon after dropping us to above red health. That was brutal. Luckily our next Thunder hits, dropping Slowbro. Jinx is next, but we switch out to Charizard, since Pikachu is hurt. We hit Flamethrower, finishing her off. Alakazam is last, and he hits Psychic, which doesn't do much. We use Flamethrower, dropping him to red health. We then get the speed advantage and win on the follow-up. With that, we defeat Sabrina, so we won't be getting turned into a playmate, winning our Marsh badge. With that, we can now go on a capturing frenzy, since more of the game is unlocked. We head down to Route 12 and we capture Snorlax first. You will always get this cutscene with Fuji no matter which one you try and encounter first. So if you're shiny hunting him, I'll try for the second one, as you won't get this cutscene every time. Use soft reset. Anyways, you have to battle him to calm him down, and a little while later we capture him. We also capture Farfetch'd, Kingler and Krabby. It's nice to be making progress again. On Route 14 we capture Venomoth, which as I run around literally pops up on the same tile I was standing on. I thought this was quite funny at the time. We also get a Tauros and a Scyther. This Scyther took me ages to find, by the way, so I was hoping he wasn't going to run away. I don't know why I was worried at the time. The second ball gets it. With that, we can now go to Fuchsia City to gain the surf technique, or whatever it's called in this game. But before that, Pikachu goes around saying hi to all the local Pokemon. I really like this scene because it makes you feel like you're more involved with the world and is a welcome change of pace. It's okay Pikachu, we all love you too. We find a lovely Lapras next to our new friend that teaches Pikachu Sea Skim. Seeing Pikachu on a surfboard is a massive nod to the original game Pokémon Yellow. This city overall, just for the vibes and stuff, really feels nice to be in. I was looking forward to the Safari Zone though, but we have more stuff to capture now, so let's sort that out. We Sea Skim in between Route 12 and 13 and eventually get a Tentacruel, but then I make a massive mistake again. I genuinely forgot I bought the Magikarp earlier in the game, so I capture another one and I'll evolve it later on in the episode. Like I said, I'm not brilliant at these games and I've made tons of mistakes in this challenge, but I don't claim to be perfect. Well, maybe perfectly average. Anyways, back to what I actually need. We got a Tentacruel, Horsey and a Seadra. Ooh look, here comes the mistake again. Woohoo! I have another Gyarados, or as some of you might say,
water on it.
Next up is Route 16 and all we can get here is a Doduo and a Dotrio. Pretty simple if you ask me. What isn't simple is on the next route, Route 17 Pokemon Road. This has Eevee on, so you know what that means. I'll have to capture 4 of them, 3 of them to evolve of course. But before that happens we get a Ponyta, EV1, Rapidash, EV2, EV3, then the last one we needed fled. It's okay, we bump into another one soon after and eventually capture EV number 4. Now this took me a lot longer than I care to admit, so for now we can eventually move on. We move on to Route 18 and there is only a couple we can actually capture here, so nothing fancy. We get a Staryu and soon after we get a Starmie. Misty will be proud of us now. Maybe she now forgives us about that damaged bike. Probably not. I'm a bit of a pleb for picking what berry to use on Starmie, and whilst I'm not deciding, why don't you follow me on Twitter, link in the video description. Now comes some of the good stuff because the power plant is vastly approaching. But in the waters to reach it there is a couple of cool offerings. We glide straight into a Dratini, but unfortunately muscle memory kicks in and I run away. Then I got my act together and caught it. Awesome. Now comes the harder one, Dragonair. I went backwards and forwards in this little stream for hours. I even started using lures, but to no avail. I saved and logged off and came back the next day. I'm still thinking of how close we are to our first legendary Pokemon, when I eventually run into the Pokemon I've been looking for, and that is Dragonair. What a one to hold up a legendary, huh? We catch it and move on to the power plant. There is a few we can catch in here before moving on to the big one, so let's rattle these off as quick as possible. So we capture Voltrobe, Grimer, Electabuzz, Magnemite, Electrode, Magneton and Muck. He took a couple of tries from being an absolute idiot. It's like Muck knows, we are only using him as a stepping stone in the challenge. It's finally time for the legendary bird, Zapdos. This is very much like the Snorlax from earlier in that you have to battle him first. We eventually calm Zapdos down within the time limit so we can go in for the capture. This will be our first legendary, everyone. This took a fair few tries, but what do you expect, he's a legendary. But weirdly I throw the ball and I thought I'd missed him, but I just got him and that manages to capture him. I don't understand the mechanics of this game, to be brutally honest. I've got perfect throws on some Pokemon and they run away, or they don't capture. Weird, huh? Now with that over, we hit up Route 24 and jump into the water. Look how silly this is. We can barely fit in this paddling pool, let alone try and get some Pokemon. Anyways, we capture a Poliwag and a Poliwhirl. Next up is the Seafoam Islands, and there's a lot of stuff we can get in here, including another big one. So again, let's rattle off these as quick as possible. So we get a Jinx, Seal, a Dugong, Slowpoke, Slowbro. I used berries and stuff to get this. It took a few tries to do so. And then I thought I was getting my Cloyster first, but obviously he flees eventually. Now well, let's get a Shelder instead. This was easier in comparison. We eventually find another Cloyster, and after a berry we caught it pretty easily. Now after long last we can get our second legendary. The legendary bird, Articuno. Like Zapdos, you have to defeat him within the time limit. We eventually do that, and now the stage is set to capture it. A few Ultra Balls later and we capture our second legendary, Articuno. Let's settle the pace a little bit as we use an escape rope and then fly back to Pallet Town. We head to Route 21 just down the water at the bottom of Pallet, and there's only one we need from here, and it's Tangela. We capture it and move on to Cinnabar Island. Once we run away from the Tentacruel, of course. Once I get there, it hits me that I have a few Eevees that still need evolving, so I fly back to Celadon City and go to the department store once again. We eventually get our evolutions, starting with Vaporeon, then Jolteon, then finally Flareon. We skip ahead to the Pokemon Mansion and there's only a few we can get from here, so we capture them. First up is Magmar, and then we get a Ditto. Let's do a boss Pokemon rush. We grab the Soul Badge from Koga, grab the Secret Key, revive Omanyte, grab Old Ember, revive Aerodactyl, grab the Volcano Badge from Blaine, then get the Earth Badge from Giovanni, which then lets our Omanyte evolve into Omnistar at the end of the battle. Of course our rival before Victory Road is Squash as well. Just before Victory Road again on Route 23 we capture two more for the Dex, and they are Execute and Executor. The latter takes ages to find by the way, but we get there in the end. Right, Victory Road. There's only two Pokemon left before the Elite Four, or so I thought at the time. You will understand this a bit later on. We find a Hitmonlee after a catch combo to make it easier to do so. We use a berry and a few Ultra Balls later and Hitmonlee gives in and stays in the bowl. I genuinely thought he was going to flee. Phew, I was sweating bullets during this because if he flees I'll have to create a new catch combo. Now let's get our final legendary bird. Now let's get our final legendary bird, Moltres. Of course, like Articuno and Zapdos and Snorlax, we have to battle him first to calm him down. After all, we intruded into his home. We then defeat Moltres with Blastoise within the time limit, and now comes the harder part, well at least for me. I'll speed this up because I'll end up using a mixture of berries and all my Ultra Balls, which is above 70 by the way, and we don't catch it. But for some reason on the second Pokeball, yes, a Pokeball, we actually get it. If that's not the game trolling me, I don't know what is. That might even make the thumbnail by the way. We then escape Victory Road and I make sure we visit the Indigo Plateaus Pokemon Center. We might need to sky dash somewhere, so it might be nice to come back the same way. Now I double check all my Pokemon just to make sure I have everything that I can get before taking on the League's Elite Four and the Champion of course. Then I realise I've left a couple behind. Yay! More mistakes! We go back to Victory Road and get Dragonair to evolve into Dragonite. This thing is cool by the way. He has one of the best open world travel beside you thingies ever. Well, I think that's what they call it anyway. You can actually hop on his back and move around, it's so cool in my opinion. We then get the Persian from Vermilion City after capturing 5 Growlithes. We use a Water Stone on a Poliwhirl to get Poliwrath. Then we go to Pokemon Tower to get Haunter. And after that we get Goldeen and Seaking from Route 6. Seaking literally gets harpooned by our surfboard by the way. I thought this was quite funny at the time. I genuinely forgot about this little patch of water that you can see skim on. Whoops. We now have everything we can get prior to defeating the Pokemon League, so let's do that. Lorelei, the Ice Water Trainer, is up first. Dewgong goes down to Venusaur, Jinx goes down to Charizard, Cloyster goes down to Pikachu, Lapras goes down to Pikachu, and Slowbro, you guessed it, goes down to Pikachu. Next up is Bruno, the Fighting Trainer. Onyx goes down to Blastoise, Hitmonchan goes down to Pidgeot, Hitmonlee goes down to Pidgeot, Machamp takes down Pidgeot, Machamp goes down to Charizard, and Poliwrath goes down to Venusaur. Next up is Agatha, the Ghost Trainer. Charizard takes down Arbok but is hurt. Pikachu then takes down Weezing, and then takes down Gengar. Loads of other stuff happens, but then we eventually get a Pidgeot, finishing the match. Finally, there's Lance, the Dragon Trainer. Seadra goes down to Pikachu, Aerodactyl goes down to Pikachu, Gyarados goes down to Pikachu, Charizard goes down to Blastoise, and then Pikachu takes down Dragonite. Then last but not least is the League Champion. Pidgeot goes down to Pikachu, Vileplume goes down to Charizard, Jolteon goes down to Venusaur, Blastoise takes down Rapidash, loads of other stuff happens, and then Pikachu finishes it. With that, we have defeated the game and our team is in the Hall of Fame and the credits roll. But there is one more Pokemon, isn't there? Let's cap it off and make Professor Oak proud. But before that, let's become a Pikachu master. I bumped into this random lass in Vermilion Forest and we have a Pikachu versus Pikachu battle. We even become poisoned, which I thought was going to be the death of me. But we held on and won somehow. So we are now a Pikachu master too. With that, let's go to Cerulean Cave with our shiny Golbat by our side and get the last Pokemon, Mewtwo. Well, I thought we would, but we get defeated in battle by him, which I thought was quite silly since we have a Master Ball. But hey ho, let's come back and try again a bit stronger. Eventually, we find a way to succeed in battle within the limited time limit and throw a Master Ball getting our legendary Pokemon, Mewtwo. With that, we have completed the Professor Oak challenge in Let's Go Pikachu, and we now have reached the outro. This has genuinely been months in the making and I'm so glad that I've managed to complete it. I know you guys would have been waiting a long time for this and I apologise for that. I wish I had more time to work on these things, but life, man. Maybe one day this can become my job and I can put these videos out that I love more often. But until that day, I want to thank everyone that subscribed already. You guys rock. I was at around 63 subscribers before the start of this weekend, and I'm recording this voiceover on Sunday the 11th of August, and I've now hit 76, which is crazy. I'm steadily rising, which is super cool, and I'm even getting some really nice comments too. Nice. Anyway, the next Pokemon challenge that I'm currently working on is Pokemon Shield with only a Grookey, but I'm working on a Leaf Green one as well, with only shinies. We've managed to get Bulbasaur together on a video that's up on the channel. I was so excited to get all of you involved, so I had multiple games set up at once, with the trainer names being some of you guys that have already subscribed. Then we kept going on until we got a shiny Bulbasaur. Now I'm doing the run as one of you. Check it out, it's my way of saying thank you and giving back to you guys. Since this is the finale, there won't be any more episodes in this series, it's done. So thanks for watching, I really hope you enjoyed that run. Please like, comment and subscribe and ring that bell if you want to see any more from me. This show is nothing without you guys, and our journey is just beginning. This is a dream of mine and I want to see it through because I absolutely love this stuff. P.S. I have a Twitter too, link in the description. Anyways guys, till next time.